Hello traders and investors, welcome back to the Trend Trader channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Moderna. Moderna is a biotech company that uses messenger RNA technology to come up with solutions for different diseases. It is one of the companies that benefited greatly with the emergence of COVID-19, as it is one of the companies that came out with one of the potential vaccines. As a result, this company performed very well, especially from 2020. But like many other companies that have performed greatly since the emergence of COVID-19, it has also experienced a severe share price decline. Before we continue, I would like to ask those who haven't subscribed to please consider subscribing. And if you find value in this video, make sure that you smash that like button. Looking at the Moderna website, we can see that they claim to be pioneering a new messenger RNA frontier in the fight against cancer. Like I mentioned, they've got plenty of drugs that are there out in the market. Most of them are targeting COVID-19. We can see that they also have other work that they're doing with other different companies such as Merck. So there are a lot of things that are happening there. We can also see that recently at the beginning of December, they received FDA approval for the emergency use of Omicron targeting vaccine. But this is not the reason why we are here. The reason why we are here, we are investors. So we are invested in the investors tab. So when you go to the investors tab, there's a lot of information that you can find regarding Moderna. We can see things such as stock information and other events and presentations. For the people that are obsessed with ESG, there's also some information about ESG. So once we're here, I'm interested in financials, especially the quarterly result, because I want to see what is happening with the company in terms of those results. So if you go under quarterly result, you will see that they came out with a quarter 3 2022 report. Just a snapshot of that quarter 3 2022 report. We can see that the company, the revenue was at around 3.4 billion US dollars, and the GAAP net income of about 1 billion, and the diluted earnings per share were somewhere around $2.53. And then this company is expecting to increase its revenue for 2023 to be somewhere around 18 and 19 billion there. And then also they've got also a pipeline of other drugs that are happening. As you can see that they have a personalized cancer vaccine program that is expected in the quarter 4 of 2022. So that will be the end of December 2022. Hopefully that will help them to boost their revenue to reach that target of 18 to 19 billion. And then also they've got other clinical drugs that are happening there. We can see they have a phase 3 flu vaccine that is expected, or the data that is expected in the first quarter of 2023. So like I said, this is just a snapshot of the Moderna quarter 3 report, but you can download that report and then go deeper into their balance sheet and their statement of income. So at this moment we are looking at their balance sheet. We can look at the current asset. We can see they've got around 14.3 billion current asset with current liabilities of somewhere around 6.8 billion. This tells us that this company has a positive net working capital. But there are a lot of other things that we can concern ourselves with. If you look at the PPE, the property and equipment, you can see it's sitting somewhere around 2 billion. If when you look at that on a year-on-year basis, there's a slight increase of about 800 million US dollars in terms of property, plant and equipment. And then if you go to that was the balance sheet. If you go to the income statement, that is where we're looking at that 3.3 billion revenue that they talk about. And then you can see that from that 3.3 billion all the way they end up with a net income of 1 billion after subtracting all these expenses. You can see at the research and development they cost around 820 million. That is an increase from that previous 521 million that they reported in the previous 3 months, but that was on a year-on-year basis. It was on 2021. So these are all expenses. But if you look at this, we are more interested in the net income. The company started with the revenue of 3.3 billion and they ended with the revenue of 1 billion. Year on year, there is a decrease, a significant decrease, because you can see that in September 2021, the company reported a 3.3 billion net income. Then when you look at the earnings per share, so we're looking at the basic, they reported the diluted as $2.53. So when you look at the basic, it's $2.67. Again, it's a significant decrease from the previous $8.27 on a year-on-year basis. But one of the reasons for that is because the share price has been dropping, and depending on the speed at which people are taking the vaccine or the booster shot. So if the company is no longer selling those things as fast as it used to, then we can expect that the revenue could be affected. Okay, so we can look at the comprehensive income. One of the things that we're looking for here, we just want to see the value of the comprehensive income, how it changed, because we can start with 1 billion, but there are other expenses that we need to take into account. From that 1 billion, you can see that the company ends up with 932 million US dollars, which is not bad, except when you compare it year on year. Year on year, it is a significant decrease again. So there's a lot of things that are happening there. You can go to the cash flow statement to look at where the cash is going as you scroll down in there. So this is the statement of cash flow. We are starting with somewhere around 6.8 billion of that net income. Then at the end, we're looking at the cash and cash equivalent, which are sitting somewhere around 3.041 billion there. So that is something that, if it makes sense to you, you would be interested in this kind of things. But in summary, we just know that Moderna is a biotech company. For those people that have traded biotech companies for a long time, you will know that these are some of the companies that sometimes have the huge upswings in either direction. It can swing up quickly or it can swing down really quickly, not even giving you a chance to manage your position correctly. So now what we are interested in is the chart of Moderna. So when you're looking at Moderna, remember we said that somewhere around 2020 the share price it broke above this resistance level, and then we saw it forming a series of higher highs and higher lows before the stock reaching that high somewhere around 480 US dollar per share. Like everything that benefited from that huge COVID upswing, it started to decline, giving back most of those gains. Smart investors, they managed to exit their positions with profit, but hopeful investors, they kept on their position, riding them all the way down. So remember, we said the previous resistance level can potentially become the new support, as we can see here. So the share price never traded below $90 per share, or just below 85 US dollar per share. So since somewhere around March 2022, we can see that Moderna has been consolidating sideways. So this is something that we've been interested in mostly here, as you can see this consolidation. So this is a consolidation that took just over 9 months, and then we saw this week the stock attempted to break above this consolidation level. Also, you need to pay attention to that volume here, that you see that the volume started to pick up, it started to jump up. So this is encouraging, because it means that there are buyers that are interested in this stock, which is Moderna. We are looking at the weekly chart. The stock is listed in Nasdaq. Depending on the broker that you are using, you may or may not find that stock with your stock broker. But if you are using Easy Equities, it is available. If you are using eToro, the stock is also available. So now what we wanted to see Moderna closing above this level with the same amount of volume. That would have been very encouraging, because that would have told us that the stock is probably ready to continue to trade up there. Remember, whenever there's a breakout, there could be a breakout and the retest of a breakout before the share price continue to rally all the way up. So the other alternative scenario, since we see that the stock failed to close above this level, so we won't won't be surprised if the stock next week start to pull back. But another thing that you need to keep in mind, we're already in the festive season, so there are not a lot of people that are participating in the market, so we might not see enough volume of either buyers or sellers to push the stock in either direction. But at the moment, this is where we are waiting to see what is going to happen with the stock. An ideal scenario is that the stock break above this level and then it trades higher, but the alternative scenario is that the stock it just continue to trade lower. So if it trades lower, we will continue to sit on the sidelines. If it trades higher, then we will take a position here. We have a buy stop order somewhere around $196 per share, with the stop just below this low somewhere in here. So that is how we are going to play this stock if it does break above. But if it retraces and then it pulls back, then our stop will be hit somewhere around $160 per share. But if it comes back to retest this 120 level there, then we won't have time to play ping pong with the stock, because remember, time is money. We don't want to waste time sitting on the stock that keeps on jumping up and down. There are other stocks that are performing way much better. One of the stocks that we have that has performed better in our portfolio was Merck. So we saw that in the past weeks, Merck has been just pushing all the way up. We bought the stock when it broke above this level here. There was a bit of volume. You can see prior that breakout, there was this period of accumulation there. We saw that buyers just kept on buying the stock, so we managed to got in as it broke above this pivot point, and then now it is consolidating again here. But you can see that it keeps on rejecting those lower prices, so we have already adjusted our stop loss to somewhere around $105, so that if the share price break below this level, then at least we manage to keep that profit that we have made in this position. It is a tough market. We can see that there is a large green candle there, but you can look at the large swing on that candle there. So if you look at this candle, you can see that even though the candle closed green, but the sellers, they managed to push the price lower. As you can see that the closing of the candle is in the lower part of that board, so that shows that even though there is a volume, but the sellers, they managed to reduce that price. So our job is to adjust our stop loss to ensure that we don't give back the gains that we have made. We cannot expect to make multi-baggers in this tough market, because we can easily see a lot of reversals that are happening. So it is important that once we make money, we do protect that cash that we have made, or that profit that we have made. So that's it that I wanted to share with you. Once again, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you find value, or if you found value in this video, please make sure that you smash that like button. If you have any comments, suggestions, please leave them in the comment sections. We'll respond to all the comments that we receive. We will see you in the next video.